past legends, and today we're going to be looking at timelines, and we're going to be trying to convert time across timelines and see if we can see anything unique about timelines during this lesson.
Okay, lads, it's really important today when we're looking at the international time zones, we actually know why we've actually got international time zones. Now, as we know, the Earth rotates around its axis over 24 hours, and in some parts of the world it's daylight, in other parts of the world it's not. It's dark. So because of this reason, we need to make sure that depending on which part of the Earth is pointing to the sun, that it relates to the correct or the right part of the day. Now you can see here that all of the different time zones, we've got 24 of them. Isn't it funny? 24 time zones, 24 hours in a day. Work vertically from the south and north poles. Now the only thing that I want you to be really aware of is that they're not exactly a straight line, and it's important to have a look and try to come up with your own reason of why you think that maybe some of these time zones are a little bit higgledy-piggledy or a little bit all over the place, and have a discussion with your teacher in class about that. Okay, when we're reading international time zones, the first part you need to be aware of is the prime meridian. Now the prime meridian is kind of like the starting point. It's pretty much where we base everything off, and it's actually in a place called Greenwich, which is in just outside of London in the United Kingdom. Now if you have a look here, I've got 4 questions that I'm going to have a look at and try to answer with you so that you can see how I do it, and then I'm going to give you some extra ones to practice. So the first one here says, what major city on the prime meridian has the same time zone as Greenwich? Now we know the prime meridian runs through Greenwich. Now if I go down that, you can sort of see that dotted line down here. I'm going to put a little mark on it just here, put a little arrow going down there. There's only one major city that runs across there, and you can see it's labelled with a little red dot, and that's London. So I'm going to put down London. Get that in there, London. Great one. The next one says, what other cities share the same time zone? Now what we want to do is we want to have a look at different cities that fall in the same colour. So if we have a look here, here's the +2. You can kind of see it goes down here, and you can see that there's 2 cities, Cape Town and Cairo. So I'm going to say Cape Town and Cairo. And Cairo. Or I can have a look here, there's Beijing and Perth. So I could say Beijing and Perth would also be another one that I could pick. Now you can see here that Sydney and Tokyo do not. They're one time zone difference, even though the blue time zone that Sydney lies in kind of goes a little bit all over the place. The Tokyo one is actually in the white one there. So you can kind of see, and this is important now moving on to our third question, that at 12 AM or the 0 hours, that's where London is and Greenwich is and the prime meridian is, that every time zone you go to the right, you add 1. Every you go to the left, you take away 1. So if it was 12 o'clock at night, so midnight at Greenwich, then if we were at, let's say, Rio de Janeiro, it would be 9 PM. So it's 3 hours behind. So if the time in London is 12 AM, and you can see here it's 12 AM in London. There it is there, 12 AM. What is the time in Sydney? Well, let's find Sydney. Let's go to the top. Here it is here. It is 10 AM. The last one here, what city's time zone is 5 hours behind London? All right, so here is London, 5 hours behind, remember, -5, so here's -5. We go up, and here's our city here, and it must be New York. Okay, here's a few more questions, and these are just 4 real quick ones that I want you to look at. So in a minute, stop the video and have a look, but it says, if the time in London was 4 PM, what time would it be in Moscow, Cape Town, Los Angeles, and Perth? A little hint for you here. Have a look at how many hours you have to add on or how many hours you have to take away, and that will give you your time, gentlemen. Stop the video here and have a go, and I'll come back in a minute and do the answers with you. Okay, let's have a look at Moscow to start with. We can identify Moscow. Here's Moscow. It's in the white zone there. And it says that it is in the +3. So +3. So if it's 3 hours ahead of London, Moscow would be 4 + 3 is 7 PM. All right, let's go to Los Angeles. Here is Los Angeles. and let's go down. It says -8. So if I go 4, well, I'm going to have to go back 4 hours to get to 12 p.m. And then I'm going to take another 4 hours off 12, would be 8 a.m. Cape Town, let's find Cape Town. Oh, here it is. Here's an easy one. Oh, hang on. This is a tricky one. It looks like it lies in the +1, but it's actually in a blue zone, so it must be +2. That's one of those special ones I talked about before, that the time zone is not exactly straight. So if we go +2, we would go 4 p.m. +2 is 6 p.m. And the last one here is Perth. It says +8. So 4 + 8 is 12. So it would be 12 p.m. Okay, gents, get down some things in your success criteria. Any questions that you have, make sure you have them with you to bring to class next lesson.